records at the assessor's office will reveal that there are a considerable number of property owners in my situation. Many of these individuals are not aware of current efforts to convince the Quorum Court to join the NFIP and have little knowledge of the effects the program would have on their ability to enjoy and develop their own property. In fact, very few people have even a basic awareness of the regulatory aspects of the program or the chilling effect it can have on economic activity and individuals' property rights. The program appears to be a logical step forward until you begin to examine the hundreds of pages of regulatory language that amount to a highly restrictive building and zoning code for the affected areas. The current permit process can easily cost between $5,000 and $10,000. A permit is required for new construction, some modifications, excavation, filling, paving, drilling, pile driving, grading, and land clearing. An owner that wishes to engage in these activities in any significant way within the floodplain would be required to obtain an NFIP permit under current regulations. According to those that I spoke with, the permit process has become more involved, with a very real possibility that permits will be denied, even when a structurally sound dwelling could be built above the floodway. Apparently, the program not only insures against flood damage, but also against the natural flow of capital and ideas into areas that have been flourishing for over 60 years without the availability of government flood insurance. The best way, after all, to mitigate flood damage in flood-prone areas is simply to discourage or prohibit people from building there in the first place. Quorum Court members should also take into consideration the long-term consequences of ceding the future of land use in these vital areas to FEMA. Legislators we've sent to Washington struggle to find funding for promises that have already been extended to Baxter County, such as the North Fork Trout Hatchery. Will funding for NFIP insurance subsidies dry up, leaving only high-priced insurance and the erosion of individual property rights? If we decided to opt out of the program at some future date, as we have in the past, would that option still be available to us?
My question is to Mr. Day. Who do you plan to sell these homes to without flood insurance if they're in a flood zone? Doesn't seem to me anybody's going to be willing to purchase them. Nor could they if they had to finance it. To sell our homes on the river, we first have to find a buyer with cash. We first have to find a buyer with a wife that doesn't mind giving up shopping. He wants to live on the river, and he doesn't care if it's a flood zone. And he has to pay cash.
Hey, I like the rock and roll music, and I like to dance the cha-cha-cha. Hey, I like the rock and roll music, and I like to...
Well, I'm sorry, but in this economy, you've eliminated an awful lot of people. My husband and I are 72 years old. He had a massive stroke a month ago. One gentleman said that my theory about the economy being down because we don't have flood insurance is wrong. I think it contributes. There's no building taking place, no sales tax, no people moving in, no building. Up where I am at the fly-in are 0 to none, but we are still called flood zone. Because of that, we can't do anything. Particularly when the federal government spent some hundreds of millions of dollars building the dams for flood control. And here we are, caught in this loop. Nobody has been able to tell me exactly why we don't want flood insurance, why we want to hang all of us on the river out to dry.
It's a mouthful. The no-rise certification is when an engineer surveyor takes a cross-sectional vertical plane of the river at the site of the proposed encroachment into the floodway, the contour of the river, and the adjacent flood zone.
I like the rock and roll music and I like to dance the cha-cha-cha. I like the rock and roll music and I like to dance